take her.
Come up here, Evan, and hold up this quilt. Sam, okay.
Take the microphone and have everybody sit down so they can hear her.
I think they just heard you, Mom.
The reason I'm showing you this is that when my mother died 23 years ago, Nina and I went through her quilt blocks that she had cut out, and we did eeny, meeny, miny, moe, back and forth. And Nina got one stack and I got the other, and so on. Mother had cut out this double wedding ring pattern, and she had sewed it together before the late 80s. Just the melon slices, these things here. And you grandkids, her grandkids, my nieces and nephews will recognize some of Mother's aprons, her muumuus, her dresses, and I want to put this out on the table for you to look at. About 4 or 5 years ago, Rebecca said, Grandma, I would like to make a quilt, and the prettiest quilt I've ever seen is the double wedding ring. And I said, that's the hardest one there is to make, Rebecca, because it's curved, concave and convex curves. But if you're really interested, I've got a stack of blocks from my mother. So Melba had cut these out and sewed some of them together. And the seams, some were 1/16 of an inch wide and others were 3/4 of an inch wide. And Rebecca and I worked on it a couple of summers trying to get it to fit. And that was about 4 or 5 years ago, wasn't it, Becca? And so I gave it to Rebecca. So this is really an heirloom quilt, and Elizabeth did the tough work. I only put together 2 or 3 circles, but Elizabeth did most of the putting together with a friend in Vernon. And the ladies in Vernon quilted it. All I did on it was the binding. But I wanted you grandkids to have a look at that and see if you see things in there of your grandmother from her fabric. So that's the story of that. Rebecca's taking it to Switzerland when she goes in 2 weeks and moves there to live. So I just wanted you to see the quilt so you could see Grandma Melba in it. Thank you very much.
So, anyway, she asked when I started quilting, how long had I been quilting? When did I first start? I said, well, actually I was 10, maybe going on 11, because this was at my grandma Levitt's home in Bunkerville, Nevada. So it was before we moved to Idaho, and I was 12. And Grandma is quilting there, and there were 3 or 4 aunts there, and my mother was there, and I'm playing under the quilt with my dolls, with a cousin, probably Nita Ray, because she was the closest cousin there. And Grandma Levitt said to me, Elaine, you're too big to be playing under that quilt. It's high time you learned how to do this. Now I'll scoot over a little bit. You bring a chair and put it right here by me, and I'm going to show you how this is done. Okay, so I pulled up a chair, and I'm sure my stitches were a ½ inch apart. But Grandma showed me how you hold the needle and the angle you use, and you have to trick your finger on the bottom to move it through, and how to come up, and how to use the thimble. And I was just fascinated with it. And then I helped Mother with a lot of quilts growing up. Mostly they were tied, the service quilts, you know, the big blue ones that we used to sleep in the haystacks. Those were quilted, those were tied. But she showed me how to do a stitch that she called crowfoot stitch. That's just in the corners, and I think you've seen that on some of yours. It does hold. It's not like quilting, but it does hold. I can quilt, and I have quilted. So, but anyway. So she asked how many I've done.
This is the interviewer
for the
the National
For the National
for the
Archives.
National Archives. And I said, oh, I don't know. About 5 or 6 years ago, I had a granddaughter here, and she asked me that question, and I said, I don't know. It was Kate, and she said, well, I'll get a piece of paper and start thinking. So I went through families, and I came up with 88 just family, and then I started thinking of wedding gifts that I'd given to other people, and nieces and nephews. The family I'm talking about is children and grandchildren. And then I go to the extended families, and then I go to the Lynette auctions, and then I told her that one year when I was in charge of the humanitarian aid quilting, we did 121. So you start totaling these up, and I'm close to 400 that I know of.
Wow.
That you can remember, yeah.
Yeah, and then every once in a while I think of one that, oh yeah, or somebody says, I remember you did a quilt for me.
Huh? Yeah. Oh, that's
Like
great.
I had forgotten all about the one I did for Carrie until it showed up in that book.
Oh, yes.
So that's been a really neat experience.
That is neat. That is
And
neat.
one of my quilting friends at the senior center said, you know, Elaine, I don't think you're happy unless everybody you love has one of your quilts.
Yeah.
Do you know how, can you imagine how much fun it is for me to go visit family or friends and see my quilts?
That is.
It just warms my heart.
Yes.
So I guess that's why I do it.